Now back to the Law Show on News Talk 760 WJR, presented by the Daily Law Firm PC. Now, here's the host of the Law Show, Brian Dailey.
Welcome back once again to the Law Show. I'm attorney Brian Dailey, broadcasting live from high atop the Law Show studios in the Motown city of Detroit on News Talk 760, as they do every single Sunday morning at 11 a.m., answering all your legal questions at 855-LAW-SHOW. That's 855-529-7469. You can also email your questions to questions@thelawshow.com. We will retrieve them on the computer that's sitting right in front of me right now, and we will answer your questions if we get time in between calls. But normally we have so many calls, we have to respond to the email questions by email themselves. If you would like to watch us answering legal questions right now, go to thelawshow.com and press on the Watch Live video, and you will see yours truly, along with Brad Wing, a personal injury medical malpractice lawyer extraordinaire from the Daily Law Firm, answering legal questions right now. We're not just limited to personal injury. We can answer questions about family law, about real estate, about businesses, about estate planning, about Medicaid planning. If you know somebody who is about to go into a nursing home and you don't want to lose all your assets that you've worked all your life for, and you would like to implicate Medicaid to cover some of those costs, we know how to do it. We can help you do that, no problem. Just call us right now at 855-LAW-SHOW. That's 855-LAW-SHOW. I want everybody to remember that you're merely calling in with your question is not just getting you an answer. It's going to get an answer for the hundreds of thousands of people that are listening right now to one of Michigan's largest radio stations, biggest signals. They're going to hear your question. They're going to hear my answer, and that's going to help them as well. So do your public service and give us a call right now at 855-LAW-SHOW. That's 855-529-7469. Brad Wing, welcome to the Law Show. I've introduced you as a personal injury specialist in the state of Michigan. You've been doing personal injury for how many years now?
Going on 7 now, Brian.
And I know that you come from a different perspective. We are plaintiffs' lawyers here, which means that we represent the interests of the injured, the person that did not cause the accident, the one who has been injured, is unable to return to work, and needs to make sure that their bills are paid while they're recovering from their injury. But you came from a completely different perspective for about the last 5 years. Tell us a little bit about what's it like to represent big insurance companies and to try to beat people out of what they're deserving as a result of their injury.
You know, Brian, I used to compare it to my job was to basically make sure people didn't get the money that they rightfully deserved. And that's essentially what you do when you're representing insurance companies. It's a faceless client. It's a phone call from somebody in some other side of the country. And it's a pretty miserable existence sometimes.
Now, did you ever have the experience of, and I don't want this to be a conversion, but it really is of sorts, because it takes a little bit of time to go from the defense head to go to the plaintiff head, and I did it myself many, many years ago. I used to work for insurance companies defending against lawsuits for people who really, truly deserve to be compensated, who were out of work as a result of an injury through no fault of their own. Did you ever run across those insurance adjusters who said, you know what, I know they deserve it, but just go out and beat them because I don't want to pay them just because?
Yeah, we get a lot of times the insurance adjusters treat it like it's coming out of their own pocketbook. And they don't want to pay the money because they don't feel like they deserve it, even though in reality the person does deserve it. And a lot of times we have to go to trial to get the adjuster to realize that they should have paid it in the first place, and then they end up having to pay more money.
So you actually recommend that the insurance company pay it, and the insurance adjuster says, nah, I don't feel like it today, I'm not going to do it. Go try the case, and then they go to trial and they lose.
Yeah, I would say that happens more often than not.
So what is it that the court can do to compensate somebody for having to wait that long on such a bad faith, frivolous defense?
Well, if there's a lot of times if the insurance company should have paid the case or should have paid the claim and they failed to, and they showed bad faith in doing that, we can get their attorney's fees paid for.
That's pretty cool. Are you working on anything in particular that's of interest to you these days? I know that you've been working on a case down in Ohio pretty significantly.
Yeah, I got a big case down in Ohio on a slip and fall at a major shopping center. And I've been driving down to Ohio a lot lately, so that's probably why I've been on the air a lot.
And you've been admitted pro hoc vice down there, which means?
Which means that I am admitted into that court for the purpose of handling this case.
Okay. All right, well, why don't we answer a few phones? You've got some experience in other areas of the law. We're going to talk to Eric right now. If you have a legal question, you can call us right now at 855-529-7469. That's 855-LAW-SHOW. You can email your questions to questions@thelawshow.com. And we will answer questions right here now. We're going to talk to Eric. Eric, welcome to the Law Show.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
We're doing good. What can I do for you, Eric?
Yes, I have traffic issue. I am a new resident of Michigan,
Yes.
and I'm in the process of getting my license switched over from Ohio to Michigan license. Okay?
Yes.
And but I got pulled over, and they charged me with failure to change my license, over.
Okay.
So I go through the Secretary of State and try to get them changed over, and they require that an out-of-state resident has a birth certificate to get them changed over.
Right.
So in that time, I had to send back from Ohio to get my birth certificate up here, and time has elapsed. So now the city of Westland has got a judgment against me for $195 because I did not get my license switched over in time.
Well, wait. Time out. The city of Westland doesn't have a judgment against you for not doing it in time. They have a judgment against you for not showing up at court, right? Did you go to court when you were supposed to?
Well, see,
Did you go to court when you were supposed to go to court?
I didn't know I had to go back to court.
Okay.
I mean,
listen, here's the thing. You've been hit with a default judgment, and that's a big problem for you because if you don't pay that, then they're going to issue a bench warrant. You will not be able to get your license switched over until you get that cleared up. But you have other issues that are going to come up here, and I'm not exactly sure why you got pulled over and what was the initial ticket for. But you need to get in touch with my associate Matt Kachik, who is he's a traffic law maniac. That guy is in more traffic courts than anybody I've ever met. Don't you think, Brad?
Yeah, every day I come in there, and he's been in Westland, he's been in Livonia, he's been out in Flint. He is all over the place.
Yep, he's even handled tickets by phone over in Kalamazoo in western Michigan, and he gives people advice on how to handle tickets in other states. I know he's done Virginia and Illinois and Iowa. But anyway, listen, you need to get in touch with him right away. You know the number?
No, I don't.
It's the same number you called to get into the show. It's 855-LAW-SHOW. I want you to call on Monday. Call on Monday and ask for Matt, and he'll clean it all up for you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks
for
calling the Law Show.
What?
We're going to continue answering all your legal questions at 855-LAW-SHOW, and now it's Chuck. Chuck, welcome to the Law Show.
Hi, Brian. How you doing?
Doing good. What can I do for you, Chuck?
Yes, I got a notice of hearing. I have two sisters. One sister has power of attorney for my mother. The other sister wants that power of attorney, and she's trying to state that my other sister is not capable mentally of making sound decisions regarding my mother's health. What I want to know is, do I have to go down to that hearing?
Well, it depends. Do you want to get in the middle of a fight between two of your sisters? I had 8 sisters, and I never wanted to get in the middle of them, and I still don't want to get in the middle of them. Do you want to get in the middle of the 2 sisters fighting?
No, I do not.
Okay, well then, if you want to fax that into us and give us a little bit more information, for no charge, we'll tell you what is your upside and what is your downside. Okay, of the law.
Okay, all I want to know is, do I have to show up for court?
Well, is it a summons or a notice of hearing?
It says notice of hearing from the probate.
All right. Do you have any concerns about which sister takes care of your mother's power of attorney?
Just the one. The other one, no.
Do you want the one that's trying to get it to do it, or do you want the one that's doing it to do it?
No.
All right. Well, listen. If you want to object to your sister taking over power of attorney for the other sister, from the other sister, then you have to show up and object, which means that you do have to stick yourself in between your 2 fighting sisters. Okay?
Okay, but I just want to leave it alone, and then I don't have to go down there.
Yeah,
right?
but then you lose any right to make any objection or have any communication whatsoever.
Okay, so I don't care, so I just don't show up.
If you don't care, you don't have to go.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling the Law Show. Be careful about getting in the middle of your 2 fighting sisters. We're going to continue answering all your legal questions at 855-LAW-SHOW. That's 855-529-7469. And we're going to talk to Tom. Tom, welcome to the Law Show.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
My story is kind of complicated, so I'll be very concise. I was wrongly terminated from a former employer because of religious discrimination and retaliation. I had an attorney originally try to negotiate a a severance package. Didn't work out. So I took my charge to the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They finally now, after a year of investigating, have told me that they believe there is, basis for my case. They did not dismiss it, and they have just offered a conciliation agreement to the former employer and to me. So my question is, first of all, I'm having a hard time trying to really pinpoint, I guess a dollar amount on what, may be reasonable or not.
Right.
I'm also trying to then figure if the EEOC typically if the EEOC and the party that I've charged, if it's customary that that parties do conciliate, more often than not, or would this be something that I'm just gonna
let me ask
be
you this,
most
Tom.
likely heading to federal court with?
Tom, let me ask you this: did you get a right to sue letter?
I did not.
All right.
That's always been an option. It's mentioned in the paperwork that, they could have dropped the investigation and issued me a right to sue at any point, but they continued with their investigation, did not find any reason to dismiss it, and therefore did find, what I guess you'd call a reasonable cause based on my charges.
All right. Well, listen, Brad Wing is here, and he has a lot of information about the EEOC, and he can talk to you about that. I can just about guarantee you that he's going to let you know that whatever you get by yourself, going with a lawyer who's experienced with the EEOC like Brad Wing, you're going to get way more than if you went by yourself. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, the EEOC tends to lowball cases a lot, and they try to find that fine line, what makes the employer happy and it makes the person happy to get a little bit of money. I found that when dealing with the EEOC, I get much better results when we actually file suit in federal court, and then without even having to go to trial, we'll settle the case, and it's still more money than the person would have gotten had they just taken that conciliation agreement.
So that you're saying the EEOC tends to be low on whatever they offer.
Yeah, Tom, how long have you been? Were you out of work for a significant period of time?
Yeah, I'm still out of work. It's been 18 months.
18 months. So I say that the starting figure is, how long do you think it's going to take you to get back to work?
Hey, this is Michigan.
Yeah, so that's what you need to think about in terms of dealing with how much money you want to settle this case for, because you may be out of work 5 years. So let's take 5 years of your salary, and that might be a figure where we want to start at looking at, settling this case.
But, Brad, isn't there an opportunity to also get non-economic damages, or what we call pain and suffering?
Sometimes there is, especially in a case where there's religious discrimination like Tom's talking about.
So now what is it going to cost Tom to come in and talk to you and me about his case?
It's going to cost Tom as much as it costs to fill his car up with gas and drive over to the Daily Law Firm in Royal Oak.
Which is to say we don't charge to sit down and talk with you about your case and give you your upside, your downside, and your options, okay?
Oh, so I get a free tank of gas just for calling?
Since Brad offered that, I'm going to give you a free tank of gas. It's going to come right out of his paycheck. Hey, Tom, I want you to hold on for a second. We're not done with you in answering your question, but we got to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be answering all your legal questions about every single legal question that you can think of. 855 Law Show. We'll be right back.